Hello, everyone, and welcome to Puppet Making with UConn Alumni. My name is Emily Ogier-Murray, and I'm the Director of Alumni Relations for the School of Fine Arts. I have the pleasure of introducing Elise Vanase and Felicia Cooper, both students of the UConn Puppetry Arts program, who will be leading the workshop tonight. During the event, you're not going to be able to speak, but if anyone has any questions, you can just type it into the Q&A section and we'll get them answered for you. There will be a short survey that will pop up at the end of the event. If you could take a few minutes, we would really appreciate the feedback. Once you're also make sure to share your finished puppet with us on social media by tagging @UConn Alumni. Lastly, this session is being recorded, but no attendee info or comments will be shown. And with that, thank you all for coming. Have fun.
All right, there we go.
Yay, here we go.
I know, I'm so excited.
Hello. I know, me too. So I'm Felicia Cooper, and I am a third-year MFA candidate at the University of Connecticut's Puppetry Arts program, and I'm the graduate assistant at the Ballard Institute and Museum of Puppetry.
Nice. My name is Elise Vanase. I am a senior undergraduate in the Puppet Arts program. I am the Waring Award assistant of the Ballard Institute Museum of Puppetry. That just basically means I help out too. So we are really excited to be able to do this workshop with you today. Me and Felicia have been doing workshops this summer. I don't know if you happen to see them, but they are still all on our Facebook page and YouTube page. So there you go. But yeah.
So if after this you find yourself like hungry for more puppetry content, more puppet things to do, you can definitely find them on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. But we've just been kind of doing these, and we haven't done them for an alumni, or we haven't done them in honor of Jonathan yet. So this is exciting.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jonathan, the greatest mascot to ever exist. So I am very excited to be able to do this for Jonathan. And these, oh, can we put those links in the chat? Yeah, sure. Or we can get them to you afterwards too. Maybe we'll figure that out. But if you want to see an example of the kind of thing we're going to be making today, this is my little quick Jonathan puppet that I made. He's made out of a sock and ping pong balls for the eyes, and then I used some cardboard for the rest of it. Very simple, very effective, cute little puppet. So I'm excited. Me and Felicia are excited to be able to show you that today. But before we get into it, do we have some things we want to talk about with the Puppet Arts program in Ballard first?
Sure. And my internet has been a little wonky today, so I totally trust Elise to just pick it up if she needs to. If there's any technical difficulties, just find a way to let me know. But so yeah, the UConn Puppet Arts program has a pretty strong history. It was started in the 1960s by Frank Ballard, and currently is the only master's program in the United States in puppetry and one of only 2 undergraduate programs. But really, it's the number one in both areas. It's pretty well respected. The thing about puppetry is it seems like a niche thing, but once you start to look for puppetry, you find it everywhere. And chances are that the people behind that work are UConn people, because if you find yourself in the field of puppetry, there's just not that many people who do it, and so it's a lot easier, I think, to find work in this field than people might imagine.
Yeah. And me and Felicia are open to any questions about the career choice of puppetry. So like, this is not just a workshop to build a fun little puppet. Please feel free to throw at us any questions you have about puppetry. We are very happy to answer them and kind of clear the air, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But yeah, another thing we'd like to say is the Ballard Institute, which employs us both, is open again after, I think, like a good 5 months of not reopening. We are now open on Saturdays from 10 to 4. It is by reservation, but it's free, so really easy to make it. You get the whole museum to yourself for a whole 45 minutes. So we really encourage you to come out on a Saturday if you have nothing to do and come visit, come see the puppets, come see the beautiful art that we have on exhibit. Yeah, chances are you'd see one of us there too.
It's true.
Yeah.
So before I make art and before with all of these workshops, I find that, you know, probably you've been on Zoom meetings all day, probably you've been stressing, writing emails, etc., probably sitting at the same spot, time traveling from office to office. And so I think it's important and it's worthwhile to spend a little bit of time getting in your body and getting your mind ready to make some art. Because even though we're just doing crafts, like this is a creative and an artistic experience and it's good for you. And so like, just feel free to like give your whole self to that for this hour that we're here today, right? So I'm going to stand up. You can stand up if you like. And I'm going to roll my shoulders back. Oh yeah. Oh, have you been holding tension in your shoulders?
Oh, I have. It's like cracking right now.
Roll them forward when you're ready. Take your time. Take your time. Roll your neck around. Let your jaw loose. And then before I was a master's student of puppetry, I taught at a bunch of different places as a teaching artist. And no matter where you're coming from, it always helps to just kind of like reset yourself for kids, for adults, in between, whatever. Just give yourself a little wiggle and move your body how it wants to move. And I can't see any of you, but except for Elise. Woo. And Elise's wiggles are great, but I'm just going to trust that everyone is wiggling with us. The great cosmic wiggle.
Your body will thank you.
Yeah. Any other stretches that you want to do before we start? Just take the time to do those.
Those hands nice too, because we're working with our hands today, right? Like doing this and everything. So good stretches. The puppeteer stretches are, of course, things like this. All the famous puppeteers know these stretches, right, Felicia?
Oh, yes.
Insider trick. And then doing things like don't hurt yourself, but like, oh, you can't really see my table, can you? That should be fixed. Doing things like stretching out your fingers like that. Don't hurt yourself though. Just little things. Or you keep doing what Felicia's doing.
That's the stretching between the fingers is a tradition of Taiwanese hand puppetry called Budai Shi, which you should look up because it's really fascinating.
All right. I feel loose now, like I'm ready to make some puppets.
Should we center our creative selves with some deep breaths?
Ooh, that too. Okay.
You're gonna breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. We're just gonna do it 3 times. Ready? In, out. In, out. Just give yourself whatever you need to be in a creative space for the next hour. In, out. Oh my gosh. Let's make some puppets.
Yay. All right, so let's get the materials together because I know, there's a couple of things that go into making this kind of puppet. Me and Felicia are very aware that people might not have all the stuff that, we would normally have as puppeteers. So if you if you need like an alternative substitute for things, just throw it into the chat and we'll try to think of something that might help. Yeah, the first thing you're gonna need, of course, is a sock. I have this cute little fuzzy sock. Felicia has more of like a normal sock, if that makes sense. So really whatever sock that you wanna use, you are free to take. Keep in mind, what color, Jonathan, would you like to make? I mean, you could always go like the basic route of like gray or white or blue is what I did. If you're feeling like making a pink Jonathan, we highly encourage you to go for it. Whatever you want, this is your project now. Just go have fun with it. Some other things you're going to need is cardboard. You can always use, if you don't have cardboard laying around, you can use things like paper plates, I'm blanking on other materials, but pretty much anything that's like hard enough to make that mouth plate, which is what goes on the inside of the puppet. So it has that like mouth structure. You're also gonna want things like hot glue. I have hot glue here. If you don't have that, I think you can use some like regular tacky glue. It might take a little bit longer to dry. You're gonna want some scissors for this project. And then for the eyes, you're gonna see that I used ping pong balls here. I'm aware that most people do not have ping pong balls just like laying around their house. So the good news is that I forgot today. I forgot to go pick up more ping pong balls, or I couldn't find them. So I'm going to be showing you other substitutes, but a great substitute is just paper. And this is just a paper plate I cut out, 2 little circles, so you can do that too. Or you can always cut out more cardboard and paint it white, really whatever works for you. I forget.
Googly eyes. Maybe you have some of those in your craft closet. If you have some googly eyes, some buttons.
Oh, yeah. Buttons. That was another thing. I was like,
pom-poms.
Pom-poms. See, there's so many different things you can use to make puppet eyes. I would really just encourage you to have fun with it. And of course, I have some paints here because I like to paint things. That's that. Does anyone have any? If anyone has any questions, they can throw it into the chat. But otherwise,
I am also using some like craft foam. I always like to have masking tape on hand, and yeah, I've got some like newspaper in case we want to make some shapes. But if you've got a sock, you're probably good.
Yeah. If you have like any like scrap, like cloth, or I use polyfill because again, I'm a crafter. You can always like stuff the inside of the head, but we'll talk about that soon. Again, anything you want to bring to the table, do it. But yeah, are we ready to get started, do you think?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to have everybody get out their sock. There we go. So I always like to start by literally just putting my hand in it and making a sock puppet, right? This is like the most basic form. I've seen people do whole puppet shows with literally just a sock in their hand with no other decorations. It works pretty well. Something I'd like to note is the part with the heel. I usually try to make sure that's in the back, like kind of near the wrist, just because otherwise you get like an awkward bump in the front. And if this has been a sock that's been used, this is the side that's likely not touched like the ground very much. So you probably want to use like this side of the sock, if that makes sense, the heel side going back. But you can take your puppet and just kind of get that idea. Make sure you kind of note where like the seam line is, if that makes sense, because that's kind of like, remember that's where you're going to be putting your mouth plate later. Yeah, have some fun.
What's amazing to me is like, even just from the different textures, we already have something that has personality and that has like a certain life to it, right? And so like really any object has the potential to be a puppet, but it's like we just need to add that little bit of like breath of life and like movement in order to assign it agency. So I'm sure you're doing a great job. It's so strange not to be able to like see the people that we're teaching, but I hope they're all having big smiles and sparkles in their eyes.
I know. I personally love to ask people questions like during it. So like, for example, if you're doing like, throw in the chat what color sock you're doing. I want to know, I like to have that, like the images going on in my head.
So once you've kind of determined where you think the mouth ought to be, I like to, and I don't know, maybe you have a more precise method, Elise, but I kind of hold on to it like this. Mm-hmm. And then I take it off my arm and I hold it inside out. And then I mark with a marker, or I have a pen right here, kind of where my fingers were holding it.
That's exactly what you do.
Perfect. Oh, gray socks. We got some gray socks.
Asian gray. There we go. Looking good.
NCAA socks. Wow. On theme.
Love it. That's so good.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I so appreciate knowing that people are listening.
I know. That's exciting. I don't have a marker. I'm actually a lot less precise with this than Felicia would be. If you're doing it the right way, I would probably listen to what Felicia's doing. But I'm just laying my sock out. I wonder if I can not like an angled desk right now. I'm using my roommate's room just because she has a better room than me. I'm not this fancy. There we go. So now you can see what I'm doing a little better. So you just lay it out. Remember, make sure the heel side is not the side you're going to be putting the mouth plate on. And I don't know, are we ready to move on to the next portion? So when
I
we
think
say
so.
mouth plate, I don't know if everyone necessarily knows what that means when we say it. This is essentially like a hard, oh yeah, Felicia has an example right here. This is like the hard piece of the mouth that gives it structure. So it's where your fingers would be resting. And it just, it serves to really give like an articulated sense of a mouth, which is really, really important in sock puppets because that's pretty much what they are. It's what they do. So Felicia already, yeah, if you were to like.
So yeah, it goes on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
If that wasn't, sometimes I think it's confusing. And then that way you have a really sharp movement of the mouth, but I'll turn it back out inside out again so you can see it more clearly.
Yeah, so make sure your sock's inside out. Don't have like the side that you're going to be decorating. And now's a good time to just kind of go crazy with this. The times I've taught this workshop like in person with people, I usually say like go kind of nuts with like the shape of the mouth that you want. So it doesn't have to be like that oval shape, right? It could be, I don't know, it could be square, it could be have like a little indent in the center to kind of maybe give like the sense of, I don't know, what do you call that with like the dog?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Wait, are there any vets in the workshop?
Yeah, right. Any vets here? I need notes on dog anatomy stuff.
On dog anatomy?
But I'm just going to kind of trace my shape. You can do it one of two ways. You could do two separate pieces, or you could just do a folded piece. This one does happen to be two separate pieces, as you can kind of see. There is a piece on the inside. I can't flip it, inside out because of the stuff. But then I've also put cardboard on the outside just for like appearance.
Wow, cool.
You can either do it connected and folded, or if you want like kind of like a more like unhinged jaw look. That sounds very scary. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. If you wanted more control, I would say you could do two separate pieces as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you. I'm gonna go sketch my mouth plate right now. You can always trim it and everything.
I made this shape, kind of like an uneven heart.
I'm liking that a lot.
But it could also just be an oval if you're not feeling it. Sometimes you just want to play it safe. Puppet making is a very personal process.
Sorry, I always take forever to cut things out.
You're not taking forever.
All right. So I have this, right? And then I'm just going to place it onto my puppet, kind of like remembering where my fingers were. They were like a little bit above that seam line. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. A little more. All right. And now this is also something you want to consider. How big are the different pieces, right? Like, is the top jaw bigger than the bottom jaw? Is the bottom jaw bigger and kind of giving like this underbite look? Up to you. For this one, I did the top jaw slightly bigger than the bottom jaw. If you can kind of tell. Yeah, because these pieces are the same size as the mouth plates inside. So I'm going to do same size today. Just see where that takes me. Try mixing things up,
Woo. All art is an experiment.
Yeah.
I wonder if they say the same about like when people are learning to play basketball, if they're like, all basketball is an experiment, because I think in order to be good at something, you have to spend some time being not so good at it.
True.
And that means experimenting and seeing what works for you.
It's true. All right, now's what you're gonna be when you want your hot glue gun. So if you have this piece cut out now, what you're gonna do is just go crazy with hot glue. I mean, don't use too much, obviously, because you never want to overload on hot glue. I just meant more go crazy as in like, have fun, it's the next step, woo! But little line of hot glue. Ooh, it just spurted at me. Why are you acting up?
So the ASL for puppet show is you go like puppet show. And someone told me that the ASL for puppet making should be puppet, like you just got burned by a hot gun. I thought that was pretty funny.
That is very funny. It's extremely accurate. The number of times I've burned myself with a hot glue gun is bad. Yeah, please be careful if you are a young one working with, I would say definitely let an adult work with the hot glue gun right now. Are there any kids here? If there are, throw a message in the chat. Me and Felicia both love working with children, and we don't get to do it enough in this corona world. So it would be very nice to know if there were children with us tonight. All right.
Feels like you're like conducting a seance. Like it would be so nice to know if there are any children.
We have 3-year-old and 6-year-old here. Yay!
What's
Hi guys. That's so exciting. All right, so I don't know where you guys are. If we're also going too fast, please feel free to tell us to slow down. Just throw it in the chat. Now that we have this like pasted on there, it's time for the reveal.
Hi, Decker, 7 years old.
Oh, hi. That's so exciting. You're gonna flip it inside out. Ready for this? This is the part that feels scary. Like you're like, oh my God, this isn't gonna work. But it is, I promise you, just stick with it, trust the process.
Just like in basketball.
Lots of basketball things. All right, there we go. And now I have like a good, like solid thing to hold on to kind of control the talking. There we go. I like this folded method. I've been doing it 2 separate pieces my whole life. This feels better. I don't know. I'm gonna pull up the chat actually so I can keep seeing. I just see like the little notifications. There we go. Hello to all the children. I'm very excited to be with you tonight. We're gonna make a cute puppy. All right, so now we should have this, right? Ooh, and you can see even more character in it now.
Yeah.
So cute.
Mine's like a very energetic, like maybe a puppy Jonathan.
Yeah. What kind of Jonathan are you making right now? Gotta think about it. You could be making your own version of your own Jonathan. I don't know. All right, so now that we have this, and again, tell us to slow down if we are going too fast. It's time for the fun part. So we just built the structure, the internal parts, this is the engineering of the puppet. I don't know. And now it's time to get crafty and fun. So this is kind of depending on who you are as a puppeteer. I personally like to start with my eyes. I know that sounds silly, but I always like to kind of like it gives me the most character, you know, like as soon as you have the eyes on, you can kind of like tell who the puppet is and you can just kind of go crazy from there. If you're doing paper eyes like me though, we probably don't want to start with that because there's nothing really to like hold them there. You would just kind of be like hoping that the glue would stay. Oh, the cardboard does go on the inside, the inside of the sock. If you did it on the outside, it'll be okay. You can always like decorate it. Like again, if you see what I did here, you can just paint it and it will look cute. You could always also flip it back inside out again and then add another piece so it's like extra reinforced, if that makes sense.
So we had a question in the Q&A about have we ever thought about adding arms and hands? And we'll see if we get there tonight, but if we don't get there tonight, there are full instructions on Elise's video, Make a Puppet of Your Pet, that will teach you about arms, and then you can back it up and go slow. So we'll see if we get there today. Yeah. And then like with eyes, I think it's like there are certain puppet historical traditions that say like you need the eyes on first so that you can communicate with the puppet in a spiritual way. And other people say don't put the eyes on until the end so you can see the focus and stuff like that. It's all personal preference. Everybody does it differently.
Yeah. In Chinese shadow puppetry, this is kind of more about the heads. They actually don't put the heads on until they actually perform and they take the heads off again because like it's said that like the puppets will come to life and cause havoc if like they're left alone with their eyes or heads. So I don't know, there's like a little bit of puppet tradition there. But anyways, let's like continue on to the fun part. With me, again, because I'm doing paper eyes, we're gonna do like ping pong balls. I don't know if people have that. You could definitely do those first and be totally fine. I want to start with the ears though, because the ears are going to be made out of like thicker cardboard, and I can glue them to my head a little bit easier. So then I can stick the eyes to those too. So I don't know. Do you want to follow that, Felicia? Sorry, I know like I'm doing it a little bit differently.
No, you're doing a great job. Ooh, I think your methodology is fantastic. Just get this off.
So ears. it's a fun time to kind of go crazy with them. Like you could give Jonathan, you could like fold them and you could do little cute little floppy ears. You could do big ears because he has beautiful, soft, big ears. Kind of up to you. Oh, Felicia's using foam. That's
I'm gonna use some craft foam. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut them much bigger and wider than I actually need them, because you can always make it smaller. And then here's like a little tippity trick from a professional puppety to make it extra, I don't know, dimensional. And maybe Elise, you're already gonna do this, but I'm gonna make a cut right in the middle. And then what I'll do is, see, I have two ends. I'm just gonna use this to give it a little shape. And see how just that one simple overlap gave it so much dimension? What you might also do is fold part of it over so that you have something to glue it onto. So you're gluing on more surface area than just the thin little edge of the paper or the cardboard or the foam.
great tips.
Yeah, maybe I'll do it like that.
I actually totally forgot about the little slit up the center. So
are you in paper sculpture right now?
No, I'm not. I took it 2 semesters ago. We have a class here called paper sculpture, which is basically making puppets out of paper. Then you can like transfer it to other materials, but it's very much based in this, like, you know, like making like a 2-dimensional thing become 3-dimensional. But I'm gonna do that just for fun. And that'll create a little bit of a curve so I can like have something to glue down, like what you just said. So anyways, I got my ears cut out again, just to, like, for tutorial sake, cutting a little slip up right at the bottom, see right there. And then I'm gonna take some hot glue. This might actually not work as well with cardboard, but we'll see.
You never know till you try.
Experimentation. No, it's good. My cardboard is able to be flattened, so I'm using the teensiest bit of hot glue. Again, if you're a kiddo, please let an adult do that part. All right. Ooh, I have all the strings of hot glue if you wonder what I'm doing right now.
You're just sprinkling the magic on.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm definitely not rolling little balls of plastic. There we go. So now we have a cute little ear. And I do have to paint this. I didn't have that foam, but that's okay because you can have some fun with, you know, your shape.
I mean, I just swung by the Ballard. I didn't have all this.
What do you say?
I just swung by the Ballard to get all this.
See, that's what I should have done. I was there on Saturday too, greeting all 4 of our guests that came in.
4, that's a good number.
I know. I think
these ears
are open yet.
These ears are way too big. He looks like a bunny.
But
I'm gonna
cute.
I might trim them down a little, or maybe I'll just use this other one that I have because I do like the ears. And if you want to replicate this, I do believe that this recording is going to be available after the event, but there's also a version of it on our Ballard website, just on sock puppets in general. And I think Maggie, the facilitator, makes a dragon. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, you might be right. Yeah, Maggie. All right, so now that I have my little shape, right, what I'm also doing is I'm just folding it a little bit right here. So I need to hold it up, just so I have that tab so I can, or actually I might want to fold that backwards, right? Because you don't want to see the tab.
Smart.
Thank you. Just listening to your tips.
Professional.
Woo.
Elise, what has been your favorite part about studying puppetry at a university level?
The fact that I can basically learn how to make magic. And I know that sounds really crazy, but like, it's so much fun just going to school and doing something you actually really truly love, you know? I started school, for those interested, as a business management major, but I was in the arts, or like I was living with artistic people. And then we did a tour of the Puppet Museum, and I was like, I think I need to do this as my career because it's the most magical, beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. So I'm very grateful to be where I am. And I'm happy that I chose a school that has it, right? Because I did grow up in Connecticut. It's like pure chance that I happened to go here. With the
That's
puppeteer.
pretty incredible.
Yeah. So I'm getting some paint ready right now because I do want to paint my ears. This is the part where like you can kind of just go nuts, you know. Not, I'm sure everyone's going to be at like a different point in their puppet making project. I'm going to make some gray ears because Jonathan has gray ears, right? Where's that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Where's that vet at? That would be getting.
Next time we got to commission a vet to join us.
Yes, exactly.
Still looking a little.
Jonathan, my both of them, my freshman year here, I went to his birthday party, which was like this big event on Fairfield Way. It was very fun. Did not get a picture though. I was too excited. I was just like, Jonathan.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met him, but I do know the Jonathan. I've interacted with the Jonathan like mascot, like the big mascot, because I'm a big basketball fan. I love watching the women just take down the opposition. I just think it's a beautiful thing to see.
Definitely.
And like the WNBA right now is like so many UConn graduates. It's really incredible to watch.
Yeah.
And instead of paint, I'm using some foam and I'm just cutting out some like kind of fur shape that I'm going to glue onto the edges of the ears.
Ooh, that's cute. You can also be using markers. You don't necessarily have to use paint, like and be fancy like me right now. Markers might be the better choice for the young ones with us.
Or maybe some crayons.
Crayons, yeah, there you go. Anything that, you know, works with your idea. So I'm painting some pink on the inside of the ears. That you can barely see it. That's a good note for myself. Make it a little bit more obvious.
I don't know if this is looking like a husky. It's looking like some sort of a creature.
That's okay. Maybe it's Jonathan dressed up as a different creature for Halloween. It is October.
Or it's the spirit of Jonathan.
Yeah. Doesn't have to look like Jonathan as long as like it embodies the spirit. You put it perfectly.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Oops. All right, I'm gonna add some white tips on his ear. I feel like he has white on his ears too. I should pull up a picture of Jonathan so I'm like 100% on this.
That's a good professional puppeteer tip.
There you go, do your research.
Look at the reference material.
Yeah.
And I think like another important lesson for artists is that like you're always going to have an idea in your mind and it's going to look a certain way up here. And then how it gets translated into reality is just kind of a practice in learning how to express yourself. You know, like, do you ever see it, like even with drawing or painting or, you know, or even like a poem or something? I think it's just a matter of practice as to how to get it to what it looks like up here in your imagination.
True.
My former art teacher is coming out.
I actually had this moment in class the other day where I was picturing something and I drew it exactly like I was picturing it and we all celebrated. We were like, what? That never happens.
Yes,
it was really fun. All right, so now it's time. I finished my ears even though they're still wet. I'm the biggest person when it comes to just like sticking things on when they're still wet. I feel very bad. Probably let it dry if you had more time. I'm just putting some hot glue on it on this little tab that I've created, remember. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna make sure my hand's not inside the puppet when I'm doing this because it could always see through the sock and have some unhappy burns. So just be careful about that. I'm gonna hold it in place now while it dries. All right.
Oops.
once it's dry, you can always put it on just to like double check that it looks good. I don't know if you saw me do it right before, but I put the sock on my hand and kind of like judged where the ears would go. I didn't say it because we were having fun talking, but that's always a good idea. Just try
to keep checking back.
Things. All right. Ooh, kind of looks like a bat. I don't know what I did in my first rendition of the puppet, because I think this is pretty recognizable as a husky, but
that just came from your soul, like that.
You know, sometimes when like I know people are watching me, I tend to not be as good, because I get stressed out. You know, you're just like, I want it to be good.
I'm trying to be great.
This totally looks like a bat right now. I think it's extremely cute, but
it's really cute.
If you find that your ears are falling forward, like what mine are doing right now, what you can always do is see how in the back we have this like point now. You can take that and glue it to that, like that back to that tab, so then it will stand up a little bit straighter. So I'm gonna go do that really fast.
Okay.
Ooh. I hope I'm not gonna my roommate's desk.
And of course, when you're finished with these, we would love to see them. Like, go ahead, send pictures to the Ballard Institute, maybe to the alumni page. I don't know if that's cool with the alumni page, but I bet they'd love to see it too. They seem like the kind
of. It's okay. So I think they can. We love to see people's finished products, so please share them. It makes our day whenever we get to see that.
You could even bring it to the Ballard if you make a reservation.
Yeah, they know we're doing this. They would absolutely love to see that people got creative. Other ears down. Ah, it's so cute. I love that. I like that gray texture that you have going on with it too.
Thanks. To me, it felt like, you know, it's a little fuzzier, a little furrier than just the plain gray one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Tag people, or tag, if you post pictures of your thing, make sure you tag at UConn Alumni on social media. All right, there we go. So I'm thinking this looks a little flat. So this is kind of like where, if you see in here, I stuffed the tip of the nose just to like to get some raise. I don't have any cloth with me here right now, but what I've
got a little newspaper.
I was gonna say, newspaper also works as a filler for these kind of things. So you can always feel free to just take some newspaper, get fun, crumple it up. It's gonna be really loud for a second. Maybe I should mute myself. I always struggle with how loud newspaper is.
Ooh. Is that the Daily Campus?
I think it is. I don't know.
Some Husky pride.
No, it's the day. Never mind. It's not made with Husky pride, but maybe that's a good thing because I'm ripping it up.
You never know. Maybe a UConn alumni works there.
It's true. I think my grandmother likes to save newspaper to give it to me because she knows I need it for art projects, because we don't get the newspaper here, you know. I'm like, we just read all of our stuff online now.
This is a really silly looking puppet.
Puppets are supposed to be silly, okay? This looks so much like a bat. I can't handle it. All right, so now I'm gonna add the eyes. So I'm gonna go make paint little holes on the eyes, or little dots, I should say.
And I'll show everyone what I've done with my eyes, which is what we try to do at the Ballard Institute. Yeah. Is, you know, when we can do in-person workshops, is we cut a ping pong ball in half and then hot glue it to a sheet of paper. And we have sheets of them, and then we cut around that paper so it gets that nice backing. Woo!
Yeah, I'm very sad that I lost my ping pong balls.
You'll find them just when you need them, or
That's
just when you.
exactly what's gonna happen. It's gonna be hilarious. Oh wow. That's the joy of these online things now.
What do you mean?
Like with like, because you're in your own space. I tend to be not as organized in my own space, and like things kind of can go, you know, because you live here too. Things will go missing all of a sudden. And you're like, what? What happened? So if you want to think about the pupil placement too for when you're making your eyes, I just did mine slightly turn in just because I think it's funny to kind of have like a cross eye. You know, my Jonathan's looking a little funky right now, so I did just like kind of not wouldn't say cross-eyed, but just like eyes turned in a little bit.
Oh, totally.
What I'm gonna do is something you can also do with the newspaper if like you find that it's getting too loose inside of your puppet, you can always just you know, use some masking tape and tape it down so it like holds that shape. I do talk about that in my make a puppet of your pet workshop. So if you want to go watch that, I make a very cute puppet of my Instagram famous Chihuahua, which is really fun. So more hot glue strings.
I'm going to use paper to make the pupils. And in order to make them symmetrical, I'm going to take this black piece of cardboard or paper as a box, and I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to cut a circle. And now I only need to cut one circle and trust that the other one will be equal to the first circle that I cut.
What I did too. I didn't share that. That's a good, you always want eyes to be like as symmetrical as you can get them.
And I'm gonna cut that little like cartoony triangle out of them. Cause mine's looking pretty cartoony.
Okay. If you see
okay?
Looking up, yeah, there's a stink bug just like going crazy in the lamp right here. I'm not afraid of them. I'm just like, stop making that scary noise.
You want to know where it is. You want to know where it is.
I need to keep an eye on it. All right. This one's way funkier than my other puppet. They're gonna be best friends. Yeah. I think this is gonna look a lot better once I put the nose on, which is what's next.
I've been doing like a lot of very like serious puppet making, like very like so it's really fun to just experiment with this goofiness, this really like simple, very fruitful, very rich form. And you know,
serious puppets, so it's like fun to just kind of go crazy, you know?
Yeah, explore it. Mine's looking also absolutely ridiculous. I'll show you in a minute.
Sometimes the way your brain wants to go with puppets.
That's true. That's true.
Keep in mind, you can use this form to make any kind of puppet you want to. When I did this with my residents, because I was a resident assistant last year, they were making like incredible things. Like one of them made an axolotl, one of them made a jellyfish. It was so cool, like just their creativity, and they looked like incredible. All right, so I made this little nose, right? I'm gonna paint it.
So mine, I'm gonna redo the pupils, but you'll find that it looks maybe a little bit surprised, right? And what you can do to counteract that is add eyelids. Like if I were to just say, let me just grab a little bit of foam here. And if I add an eyelid, it gives it so much more, you know, it just can express so much more than just surprise. And you can do them under and over, but first let me make it so he's not totally wall-eyed. Nothing wrong with that though.
Yeah, you can also think about like what expression, like maybe you're making a grumpy Jonathan, so you could always like make the eyelids kind of, you know, like angled, make him look angry, or I don't know. I mean, it's his birthday, so hopefully he wouldn't be angry, but you know, you're the artist. I don't know what kind of puppet you're making. it's coming out. I found that once I put the nose on my Jonathan, I thought he was much cuter.
Oh, much better. Oh, yeah, a nose.
The nose is what makes it. That's not true. It's usually the eyes in puppets, but for the sake of Jonathan, it's the nose today.
Oh, that is adorable.
Really wish I had the ping pong balls for the eyes, but I think the paper works too, actually. Makes it funnier looking.
And puppets are like, you can totally go back and add it eventually. Oh, you're right. The nose does make it.
The nose makes it. There's something about it.
Like this to this, that's a totally different puppet. Okay, thank goodness. I was like,
Jonathan, like, I would say probably his most notable feature is his boopable nose. Because, you know, so many people just know him because they get to boop his nose. So I'm going to say, like,
very
if you think
boopable.
about what makes the puppet the essence of Jonathan, gotta
The
have
essence of Jonathan.
it's
Also, like,
important.
there's that statue where everyone rubs the nose for luck, right? Have you ever done that?
Oh, I've done that many times.
I never have. Never once. Not in my life. Do you think I should?
I think you should, especially well, actually, maybe not this year because I think you're not supposed to because it's a touch point. Can't disinfect it. Don't do it. Don't listen to me. We used to do it in like the middle. I have this really fun memory of there was like a blizzard happening on campus, and me and my friends went to late night to get some wings. Then we all went and took a picture by Jonathan and like with like the snow surrounding us. It was a great experience.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Love campus. It's very nice. All right, now the last thing I'm doing to kind of like top this very wacky puppet off is I'm gonna add the inside of the mouth. This is kind of totally optional, it's up to you. But I personally like, here, I'll show you my example, just seeing, ooh, the stink bug's added again. I like seeing like the inside of the mouth just because like, I don't know, it's cute, you know, like Jonathan has a cute little pink mouth.
I made the derpiest Jonathan in the whole world. Oh, what does Zolani want to make? Oh, let me open this.
Smart.
A mask for Jonathan. That's a good idea.
Felicia just made a big mask for our Frank Ballard puppet in the window of the Ballard. So if you're in downtown stores, you can check it out. You can absolutely do that. You just need probably like a little bit of cloth, and then make sure, you know, it like can go across the face and just cut out two little like circles in the ends that could loop around the ears. And I think that would make a great mask.
I bet and it would make your ventriloquism very easy if you had a mask.
Exactly.
I'm not a ventriloquist, but that is a skill.
Yeah. But good job, Zolani. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Keep your puppet safe. Puppets have to be safe too. I'm gonna add some little dimple paint effects just for fun right now because I did that on my other one too.
Oh, thanks. They said we pronounced it right.
Yay, okay, that's a beautiful.
I think they must be here with their sibling, who is named, wait, we had it before, Izel? We're glad you're all here.
Yeah. All right, go back to the inside of the mouth.
Okay, focus. I think I'm like, because mine is so very like silly and goofy, I think I'm just gonna give it like a.
Oh, I would, yeah, have fun with it, please. Yeah, am I going too basic just doing the inside of the mouth?
Well, you're making a friend for your other guys, so I'm sure their personalities will inform each other like real animals do.
Yeah, exactly. I actually, my roommate has a husky. He's downstairs.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's technically a husky. Doesn't really, he like looks like has like the build of one and the ears and everything, but his colors are not what like a regular husky. He's a beautiful dog. I should have made a puppet of him. His name is Kemba because I think that's a famous basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kemba?
Kemba, is that a basketball? I think that's what it's supposed to be.
I hope.
I don't follow basketball. I'm a bad UConn person.
I think the Lakers are going to take it all. Anthony Davis is having a great time in the playoffs.
Nice.
That's all I say.
I don't know. All right. You know what? I'm inspired. I'm gonna give him a wacky tongue too, because Kemba Walker, that's what it is. That's what my roommate always screams whenever he's being naughty. That's it. She's a big basketball fan. The other dog is named Carmelo Anthony, if that means anything to anyone. She's a cute little pit bull.
I'm gonna give him a little like tongue, a little curl, so
Yeah.
it's extra creepy. Actually,
It's nice because it can like be flattened and like manipulated. So I'm gonna do that too. Here we go.
oh,
I want to have more of a red tongue.
and I cut it on a little bit of an angle so that it can hang out the side, right, like that. And I'm just gonna put glue on the very edge so that it can still wiggle around and have some movement.
Smart.
Thank you.
We love movement in puppets.
Mhm.
The more like loose aspects you can do with it, the better. Not loose, but like controlled chaos, if that makes sense.
Totally.
All right, so now the inside of the mouth, it's been painted pink. I'm just gonna again throw on some hot glue and
I gotta sneeze.
right to the bottom. You can see that. Gotta hold it in place first. Something else you want to do if you are doing this method is you can, if you don't like that like look of like you can kind of see the cardboard, you can always take and very carefully glue down this edges of fabric to kind of like overlap. That's something we do in the puppet field whenever we make like Muppet style puppets. So I call it creating the lips, right? Because you're kind of like folding the fabric over to make that appearance. So you can do that if you would like. This fabric is kind of stretched out pretty tight, so I don't think I can do that with this one. But if you didn't like stuff it, for example, you're probably able to do that better. Yes, the tongue's gonna make the look. Look at that, it's so cute. There you go. Felicia, I think you're muted right now. I don't know how that happened.
Oh, I had to sneeze, and so I muted myself.
Thank you.
Of course. I'm learning a lot from allergy season.
Yep.
But thank you for letting me know.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I think I have my finished puppet look.
Love it.
I think character.
Just like anything you want to add, like glitter, fur, paint, anything. Go ahead and add it. But like this is
we had a question earlier about adding arms. That actually was part of like our original thing, but it looks like we're running out of time here. Thank you, Pete. It looks very nice. If you want to do that a very simple way, and again, we talk about it in our make a puppet of your pet workshop. All you have to do is attach 2 pieces of yarn, kind of like where you want the arms. And at the end, what I like to do is I like to sculpt like a little ball out of newspaper and masking tape. You can kind of see it. Then I paint it and I stick the yarn inside of it. And then you just take a skewer or any kind of stick and like jam it up in there. Yeah, I know we didn't have an example. I don't have any like sticks or skewers here, so I couldn't do it. But then you can just kind of like use the skewers and have a little, yeah, see, Felicia can kind of show you. But anyways, that's that.
Are there any thanks. Thank you, Deleva. Does anyone have any questions about the Ballard Institute or the Puppet Arts program or anything like that that they would like us to answer while we're here? If not, like we said, check out our workshops. We've got a forum coming up so that, we have a lot of like puppet making workshops, but if you're just interested in thinking about puppets from an academic angle, the director of our museum, Dr. John Bell, holds forums on a monthly basis, or there's 4 per semester, so almost monthly basis. And our next one coming up is about living objects, the history and current state of African-American performance art, object performance. It's going to be a really special one. We have a lot of special we can visit our museum. Just make a reservation on the BIMP website, which is bimp.uconn.edu. And I think that's all we need to say.
And if you want to check out our past workshops, just saying, if you have a Facebook, you can just look up Ballard Institute. And then will be the first page that pops up, and you can go kind of scroll through our videos and look at them. Or if you type into Google, like Ballard Institute workshops, YouTube, it'll come up on YouTube as well. So please feel free to take a look. Me and Felicia worked really hard on them over the summer. So there's some good stuff there.
And then I guess the last thing that we should say is that, Elise and I are both in our final years at UConn, so we both have kind of like senior and MFA projects, which you can stay tuned for. Mine is called Ish. It's going to be like a socially distant outside performance in April. And what else? Just that the Puppet Arts program is here. Oh, Puppet Slams. If you find yourself, it seemed like some of you had so many questions that were coming from a place of experience. If you've got a performance, or if you get really excited about these and you want to perform, no matter what age, you can submit a piece to our Puppet Slam in the spring. And it might be online, it might be in person, we're not sure. I think it's probably going to be online. But that gets broadcast and people really show up and get excited about that. It's like a variety show.
Events coming up. Follow the Ballard Institute. We're working hard to produce some fun for everyone.
It's true.
All right.
Well, hope everyone has a great rest of their night. At least thank you for your time. Happy Jonathan's birthday to you.
Thank you. Happy Jonathan's birthday to you too. This was fun.
Thank you.
All right.